It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspectives of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is being brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and it can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on local radio WMOA AM 1490 and ESPN radio WJAW FM 100.9 and AM 630. It's now time for the show. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and we're pleased to be joined by Marty Shemway, and he is with Locust Bioenergy Solutions, amongst other things, right? I think if we look at your resume, you'll will know that you've been around the block when it comes to the oil and gas industry. So maybe for the listeners, kind of start at the beginning of how you got into the industry, and then we can talk specifically about Locust Bioenergy.
Okay. Well, I'm a civil engineer by background. I worked as a consulting engineering for a civil engineering company in Columbus, Ohio for a long time, and that work entailed me sitting in an office and designing bridge foundations and doing really cool stuff like that. But I've always wanted to be more of a geologist, and so I got some opportunities to work for hard rock mining companies in Alaska and the Yukon, and so I started out working in geology doing exploration for base metals and gold in Alaska. And then I got married and had children, and my wife said no more traveling to Alaska. So we settled in Central Ohio, and I first started working for a company called Seagas Exploration in Columbus, Ohio, kind of as a tech and as doing a bit of geology work and things like that. And then I started to work with another company called Mackenzie Land and Exploration. It was my brother's company, and my focus at that time was working with development opportunities among the traditional formations in Ohio. So the bread and butter of the 65,000 producing wells in Ohio, working with the operators of those wells to produce more efficiently and also helping them understand what the value of their asset was. So I would do reserves work for them that they could take to the bank and then borrow money against. I left that company. I worked for a small company in Charleston, West Virginia for a couple of years called Triana Energy, and we did some exploration projects in central Kentucky. Left that company and actually went back with my brother's company, Mackenzie Land and Exploration, for a few years. And then I set off on my own as a consultant and was doing similar things as a consultant with a company called Shemway Resources. I started consulting for a company called Locust Bioenergy and was just intrigued with what they were doing and how everything fit in, and I ended up working full-time for Locust Bioenergy, and so that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, well, it might be a separate show to talk about the specifics of that, because we've talked about it a little bit. I'm curious of along the way where your civil engineering kind of melded into what sounds like, biochemistry.
Yeah, so a long path, and I often describe myself as somebody as a jack of all trades and master of none.
Sure.
Know a little bit about a lot of stuff and find people that are smarter than me to help make stuff happen and all that. But yeah, the civil engineering, it was my focus when I got out of college was geotechnical engineering, so it was rocks and dirt and foundations and things like that. And so I'd always been intrigued with geology, and so when I had the opportunity to go on the exploration side of things, and exploration geology is really exciting because you're doing things that nobody's ever done before, and you're doing new stuff. You're drilling a well, and you're putting all the marbles into this one well and crossing your fingers that you did your due diligence correctly and you're going to get a well. And that's really intriguing, rewarding, and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Marty Shemway is our guest on Energy Insights. He's with Locust Bioenergy Solutions, and if it's all right with you, we'll talk next week about the specifics of how we go into that. But I wanted to ask you about Suga, your relationship with Suga.
So I'm kind of a new member of Suga. I've always been aware of Suga. Being from Central Ohio, I've mostly been involved with UGA, which is the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. But about 2 years ago, I started attending Suga events, and this is the best group of people I've ever been around ever. Wonderful, warm, welcome people, and a lot of great people that have been really awesome to work with. So I like Suga a lot.
All right. We thank you for your time. We'll hear more from Marty next week here on Energy Insights. He is with Locust Bioenergy Solutions. And until next week, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA and ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wharf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley.